afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining me for this session this afternoon. My name is Liliana Ventura, and I'm the Global Key Accounts Director at Acceleration Partners. This topic of 10 cardinal sins of affiliate marketing is an introductory topic for advertisers and publishers that are new to affiliate marketing, but also for publishers and advertisers that have been in the industry for a little bit, but are looking for ways to maybe optimize the strategies that they have implemented so far. I wanted to start by giving you a little bit of background on me. I've been in affiliate marketing for about 6 going on 7 years now, and I've been very fortunate in having opportunities to work across the full spectrum of affiliate marketing. I've started off as an affiliate publisher, then I went on to work with an advertiser, and now I've been working most recently with an agency. I've had the chance to work across a variety of verticals, including hospitality, finance, consumer tech, and really everything in between. Some of the accounts that I've managed over the years include Apple's affiliate program, iTunes affiliate program, E-Trade, and other brands of a global caliber. What really drew me to the topic of 10 cardinal sins of affiliate marketing is that over the years, I've observed that a lot of different stakeholders within the affiliate marketing industry tend to make the same errors over and over. And I've wanted for them to know that there's ways to easily correct them. And there really hasn't been a lot of conversations around things that could be changed for the better. So if you're new to affiliate marketing, I'm hoping that this gives you a foundation to really take your new or overhaul program to the next level. I'll divide up this session into 2 sections. So one will be publisher sins. So we'll go over 5 of the publisher sins. What are some of the things that you lose out by committing these sins? And what are some ways that you can go around it? I'll also talk a little bit about 5 advertiser sins, and same thing, what are some of the consequences of engaging in these stumbling blocks, and what are some solutions for them. For publisher sins, we'll be talking about themes of relationship building as well as looking towards a long-term partnership. For advertiser sins, we'll be talking about also considering how to customize things so that they are relevant to a variety of publishers. One of the biggest stumbling blocks that I've found within affiliate marketing for publishers is remaining very superficial. So on the surface, it may seem that publishers are very polite and friendly, but maybe you've experienced where you're either on the phone with someone or meet them in person and they have this glazed look, they have this monotone voice, and you know they probably had the same conversation with a dozen other people on the same day or the same week, and you know that they don't really know you or your brand. So it is like a goldfish, a shark that is actually hiding as a goldfish. So one of the things that I've found to be critical to good affiliate marketing is for publishers to take a more genuine interest in their advertiser contacts. So even though advertisers are actually representatives of a brand, but they are also individuals. So it does help a lot to take the extra time to really show interest, whether that's on the birthdays, occasions that are coming up, vacations they've taken, destinations, if they have children, ages of those children, hobbies. Things like that go actually a long way. It may seem almost unimportant, but those are the building blocks for a relationship. When we don't focus on really building the basis of the relationship and we're to focus only on the business, we actually forgo a lot of opportunities that we could have gotten simply because we didn't care enough about the person. So what I've found in affiliate marketing is that, and really not just in affiliate marketing, in business in general, we like to work with the people that we like. But how do we get to like them? We get to like them because we get to know them, and as we get to know them, we get to trust them. So the next time for publishers you talk to an advertiser, take the time to get to know the person you're speaking to. To give you an example, when I was on the advertiser side, I was really impressed with this one publisher that every call or every meeting we had would spend an extra 5-10 minutes just catching up with me. And there was one time where I was talking about destinations that I was going to visit with my family later that year. And he really took the initiative, and about 3 or 4 days later, sent me a few links about attractions to these destinations. And I thought to myself, did he really need to go that extra step and do this? And of course, the answer is he didn't have to. But the next time I had extra budget, the next time I had opportunities to try new campaigns, he was one of the first people that came to mind, simply because he took the extra step to really build the relationship. The second sin that I see publishers commit very often is staying on the bench. So what I mean by that is being very reactive, waiting for something to come up before you work on it. For example, if you have a goal or a budget that you're supposed to meet, and you're either underpacing or overpacing, maybe you don't address it upfront. You actually wait for the client to flag it before you come up with a solution. What I found to be really helpful is for publishers to be more proactive. Really think about how you can add value to that brand. Think about how you can keep yourself from being substituted. For example, if an advertiser is in a given vertical, get to know that vertical a bit more. You can do so by setting up a Google alert that is related either to that brand or to that vertical. And every so often, you'll get a news alert that you can use in your conversations with your advertisers. It allows you to not only be knowledgeable about their space, but also think about what are some strategies that you want to use and propose to them so that they can better manage changes. And that is one way that you can be a lot more productive and also a lot more helpful and stand out from the crowd. Another thing that really helps is don't just do the bare minimum. For example, if you find from talking to your advertiser that there's something that could ease their work for them, then take that extra step and do it. Maybe it is a little bit more time for you, but it shows them that you actually care about their business. So one example that I came across when I was on the publisher side is that in talking to an advertiser, we learned that she had to present to her leadership a group of the placements that they had booked for that week. And it took her a lot of time to go through all of the different sites to compile all of these screenshots. So even though it really didn't have to be our job, but what we did is we took the initiative and went and got all of these screenshots for her, saved her some time so that when she did have to present to her leadership, she was better equipped to do her job. And that went a long way to build that relationship and show her that we were not just waiting for her to give us instructions, but we were looking for ways to help her in every way possible. Another way that I find publishers have a big stumbling block is coloring inside the lines. So what I mean by that is that publishers sometimes only do what they've been asked to do by advertisers or what they've seen advertisers want in the past. For example, if an advertiser has only booked email campaigns with you a couple of times a quarter in the past, a lot of publishers, what they do is they just give themselves a calendar invite or calendar reminder to come back to this advertiser and ask about their interest on an email campaign sometime within the quarter. But it's not a lot of publishers that actually dig into different creative ways to help that advertiser and really help them get to their next masterpiece. So for example, some of the publishers that I found to be most successful are the ones that always look for different ways to expand the campaigns and the value that they're bringing to the publisher. For example, they might suggest trying geo-targeting, finding audiences that are in a specific region that could benefit from the products and services of a given advertiser. I found publishers that look for mobile options now that more consumers are interacting with brands through their phone and through their tablets, and finding ways to present that brand through that medium has also been very helpful. And also proposing things such as Trademark Plus or Trademark, which is a paid search campaigns to complement what they already do. Because what we find is that a lot of advertisers are not really monitoring their search space. So their competitors are actually going in and bidding on their search terms. But as a publisher, you could present a way to help the brand where you ask to be allowed to be one of their authorized representatives within the search space. You get paid a certain commission, and you help drive all the traffic back to the brand. Another important or sin that I see repeated a lot among publishers is focusing on the rewards instead of focusing on trust. So maybe you've come across publishers that are like used car salespeople. You know that when you talk to them, all they're looking for is, what am I getting out of it? And of course, in any business, we're looking to make a profit, but we are often ourselves, if we're honest, turned off by people who are only looking for their benefit instead of looking for our long-term partnership. So one way that we can seek trust is to find ways to give more than what we receive. And so what I found to be successful for a lot of publishers is looking for ways to provide test campaigns that maybe the advertisers haven't tried before and do so for free. And I know for a lot of publishers that can be an obstacle because there is a little bit of a revenue loss by giving a free campaign. However, for the publishers that are willing to forego the short-term benefit in order to preserve the long-term partnership, I've seen great opportunities for growth for them simply because they were willing to build the trust instead of trying to only get the reward. And the last sin that I would say publishers commit really often is only focusing on the numbers. And that is very nearsighted because there are a lot of publishers that will get on calls with advertisers every week or every 2 weeks, and they'll talk about how the performance went up or went down, but then they don't really do what they should be doing, which is actually tell the story, talk about the strategy. How does the execution of that campaign, how does it increasing or decreasing fit into the larger picture of this line of business or this department or even the company? And that's what advertisers are looking for. What are we bringing that adds a lot more value and not just a lot of execution that really doesn't drive their whole company forward? So for advertisers, since by and large, the issue that I find the most is advertisers tend to stay in a rut. So if something has worked well in the past, they will continue to do so. I've actually worked with an advertiser that had the same program terms and the same commission for 10 years, didn't change it throughout that whole time. And where he ended up is that they had a very small number of publishers that were monopolizing the whole program, but a lot of them actually were very fraudulent. And simply because he hadn't really thought of ways to change the commissioning or change the program terms in such a way as to protect the overall health of the program, he was suffering from just continuing with the tried and true. So what advertisers should be doing is actually reserving some of their budget to test out new campaigns. And I know that that's something that tends to be hard because we fear risk. We fear that if we invest in something and there's not a return, then it's harder for us to justify to our leadership. However, if we do spend some money to try out new campaigns, we may find that the positive benefit of that investment actually outlasts everything that we put into it. And that could, the different types of ways that we could innovate are by having different types of bonus commissions, commission increases, trying to target different types of publishers, trying to target different types of mediums than those that we have tried in the past. Another sin that advertisers often commit is that they try to apply one size to everything. And I find this to be more often the case when a brand is trying to go from a domestic strategy into an international one. So brands usually want to keep a very consistent vision and consistent image, and that is why they will often try to use something that has worked locally, internationally, or regionally. However, they find that by doing this, they actually are alienating a lot of the new regions and communities that they would want to be absorbing into the program. So instead, what advertisers should be doing is really customizing and getting to know their publishers. Are there specific languages that work better? Are there cultural sensitivities that are being overlooked simply by trying to keep this uniformity? And if advertisers are able to maintain this sensitivity towards different types of publishers and customize incentives and terms towards them, they will find that they will grow a greater global reach. Another sin that publishers commit most often is what I call stretching the net. So a lot of publishers think that having more publishers in the program is better. I actually used to work with an advertiser that had at one point over 100,000 publishers in their program. And as you can imagine, 100,000 publishers it's a very large number to work with. Even working with sometimes 20, 30 publishers is very difficult. And we found from working with that program that actually the 80-20 rule applied. That is to say that 20% of the publishers were generating 80% of the revenue. So instead of trying to double or triple or quadruple the number of publishers that you have within your program, it's actually better to identify who your whales are and work with them to really cater to their audiences. So in the case of this advertiser that had 100,000 publishers, there was really only about 5 or 6 publishers that were really driving most of the performance for the program. So what we did with them is that we created exclusive offers and campaigns for these whales so that they could better target their audiences. And there was a very free-flow sharing of information with them. And we found that actually by focusing on the whales, we tripled what we would have done if we had spent the same amount of time on the 80% that wasn't really performing at the same level. Another sin that advertisers often commit is that they restrict the flow of information. So that could be something as simple as being too last minute in sharing promotional calendars or offers, or it could be assuming that because a publisher has joined the program that they know the ins and outs of the product or service as much as someone who works internally at the brand. So the best way to get around that is to provide a lot of information, provide ongoing training. For example, create a set of resources or FAQs or webinars that the publishers can access at their own leisure. But not only creating these resources, also reminding the publishers often that they can resort to these. And that way, this free flow of information allows these publishers to become brand ambassadors for the brand. Finally, the last sin that advertisers, I would say, commit the most is trying to do everything by yourself in-house. So I found that advertisers often, especially when they're first getting into affiliate marketing, they equate their marketing department with their affiliate marketing department. But as you've probably seen from having joined ASW, that affiliate marketing is a very niche type of business. And so there are a lot of policies, relationships, and intricacies that come with affiliate marketing that not everyone who has a marketing background could understand. So how we would overcome this is by having this orchestra mentality. When you're trying to juggle everything by yourself, it's like a chef that also wants to be the waiter and the dishwasher and the hostess and the cashier all at once. It just can't be done. It won't be done well. Instead, advertisers should take the thinking of conducting an orchestra. You wouldn't expect a maestro to also be the violinist and to also be the cellist and to also play every instrument really well. So my advice to advertisers is look for experts in the field, whether it's an affiliate manager or an agency that is very well versed in this, and leverage them for a strategic recommendation on how you can do better instead of trying to do everything yourself. So in conclusion, there are a lot of pitfalls that you can face as you enter affiliate marketing, but I think the rule of thumb for both publishers and advertisers is really think of affiliate marketing as a relationship business, with the relationship part being the most important part of the formula. And also think about how to build this out to be a long-term partnership, even if that means that you forgo short-term goals. And that concludes my presentation.